We got an article here from CNN describing how certain colleges, including Tulane, all Oregon Public Universities, and the University of Washington, are waiving entrance exams for either the ACT or the SAT for entrance. So, Sam, what do you think about this move? Do you think it's a positive, negative? What do you think?
Well, honestly, I think what they're doing here is the exact opposite of what they intend to do. What they say is that by taking away the requirement for ACT and SATs, they're making it more fair for students in every income bracket to be able to compete in front of the application boards. But the problem with this is that the reason that standardized tests exist is that they're a standard metric for the entire US. And if you don't have a standard metric, it's very difficult to examine students on a case-by-case basis. They need something to quickly judge the student on how well prepared they are to face college. And as we know, preparing for the ACT and the SAT is a difficult chore. It's something that is extracurricular for the student. It has no bearing on the GPA.
So, we can both speak from experience. It's not very difficult to make good grades in high school, even with extracurriculars. And there's so many different high schools, so many different standards across the country. You've got magnet schools, you've got public schools, you've got private schools, charter schools. You've got thousands, and not every school is going to track down every high school and check every curriculum to make sure that it's standard. You could have a kid making a 4.0 plus going to, a very, very easy public school, and you could have a kid with a 3.5 who's going to a more difficult school, a magnet school or a charter school. And without the ACT to be there to tell the difference, you're going to automatically give it to that 4.0. Usually, is the way it's going to go.
And if I might add, in addition to that, what makes it more difficult and you are actually taking away from disadvantaged kids is that the kids who come from privileged private schools that have a well-known name, like Stony Brook or Stuyvesant, those kids will be even more easily recognizable on college applications because they know the difficulty and rigor of these schools. Without the ACT, there's no way to tell these thousands of different high schools apart.
Absolutely. And another thing, aside from hurting kids who go to public schools or less well-known schools in terms of rigor, there's also something to be said for predicting success in college. Like I said earlier, it's not very difficult to make good grades in high school if you work hard. And one thing that the ACT does is that most schools, and we went to the same high school, and with the exception of handing out free tests, there was not much help with the ACT that they gave you. And if you were going to be successful in the ACT, it was going to be through hard work and discipline on the student's part. And that's basically what college is. You can make good grades in high school because your parents are riding you and you're in class every day and the teachers are there to help you. But with the ACT provides free testing aids online. And so it's up to the person taking the exam to take initiative and ownership of that test. And I think that, someone who scores very well on the ACT, that's very telling in terms of someone who is disciplined, who's going to put in the work in addition to doing, their high school work. So I think more data points are better than fewer data points. If I have a 3.5 versus a 4.0, and that's the only metric I have to determine the difference between them, I think it'd be very telling. If the 4.0 from high school made a 21 on the ACT and the 3.5 made a 30 something, I think that could be very telling about the work ethic of either of these students.
And I think the ACT score plays even more roles than just being a metric for colleges to examine students, but for maybe students to be introspective on themselves. If a student does not perform well on the ACT, perhaps they shouldn't go to college.
Absolutely, and a lot of the arguments being made here in this article is that a lot of schools are going to receive a more diverse and a higher number of applicants, and really, I don't think that's what colleges need. The idea that everyone needs to go to college or there's a stigma attached to not going to college, I think that's very harmful, especially considering the student debt crisis that we have in this country. It wasn't that long ago where an associate's degree was kind of the baseline that differentiated you from other people in the workforce, and now it's the bachelor's. And people are already starting to say things like, the master's is the new bachelor's. And that's very, very scary because, I mean, I would say that within our lifetime, Sam, there's going to come a point where, the master's is what is expected for professionals. And then even beyond that, it may become the doctorate. And when everyone's a doctor or everyone has a master's, no one is. And I just think that, college has gone from something that was a differentiating factor. Like you would have to be an excellent student to go to college, and it was the hardest working people out there. And now you've got people going to school with breathalyzer GPAs and drinking their way through college, and they're not taking it seriously.
It's
And
true. I mean, we both, even though we're both freshmen, I'm sure we've seen plenty of examples of students who probably shouldn't have gone to college.
Right, and I think a lot of it is this, like I said, the stigma, and it's just college is just like, it's like a feeder program. It's like, naturally I'm going to college, and I think that a lot of people, it would save them a lot of money, and I think they would learn a lot more practical skills if they in fact did, go straight to the workforce or went to, like welding school or, something like that, went to the military. I think that would serve people a lot better.
Oftentimes, students who believe in the this sort of path for the American dream think that taking college courses and getting a bachelor's degree at some college will allow them to instantly get better wages, a better job.
Hmm.
This just simply isn't true for a lot of these people. I mean, if you go into college, you come out with your bachelor's degree, you're going to end up with truly no marketable skills, no more experience than you would have had if you had just not have gone to college. In fact, some business the friends of mine say that it's more important for you to get practical education, tangible skills that you can pass on from year to year and collect on your resume to show for yourself that you know how to do a job. You can do the X trade, Y trade, etc.
Hmm.
And the best part about it is that you won't end up with any debt.
Right, absolutely. And, making college easier to get into, supply and demand, it's not going to hurt the college price problem. You have more people applying to schools, prices are going to shoot right up. So I really think that this is a negative. There are activists for everything, but I think that this is definitely one thing that needs to stay in place. ACT, SAT, they need to remain an integral part of college applications.